Let
I'll
me
wait
just,
for it to wait for us to populate, and then I guess we can try to find a game real quick. I
yeah.
guess.
Oh wait, hang on, I'm not your partner yet. Are you my partner? No, you're not.
All of a sudden, that Tarkin video that I made a while ago,
It's going viral or what?
like all of a sudden, yeah, it's got way more views all of a sudden. I'm like, oh man, maybe because the
That's
game's like way
awesome.
closer to coming out.
Yeah, that's so random how sometimes that will just happen with like videos you don't think will be successful.
Yeah.
How many views does it have?
Right now, like when I put it out originally, it was at like I think like 20 something.
Oh, that's not
And
bad.
like today, no, it was at 20 something then. So today I checked because I kept getting a bunch of like notifications on my phone from YouTube saying like someone was like people were commenting on the video.
Oh,
I was like,
sick.
who's commenting? And then yeah, so now it's up to like 62. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm checking now. 60, yeah, it's at 62 views. So it got like it bumped up real quick. But I'm like, oh man, that's cool. I think, like I said, I think it's because the game's coming out soon, so now people are like more into like because before it was just basically the people who were still into Battlefront. Now the rest of the gaming community is like, oh yeah, that's right,
Yeah,
Battlefront 2's coming out.
I'm playing it a little bit.
Yeah,
Alright,
it's
let
like
me
it's like they remembered like the game was around.
let me find.
Plus
You wanna?
Battlefront 2 like free beta sounds good to me.
Oh yeah, free anything sounds good. I'll look for
Yeah,
sabotage.
yeah, sab out
Searching.
a little bit sab out.
Alright, we got a couple people in there.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I guess we'll chat about the beta real quick. Hi to everybody who's like dropping in. Again, Adam is on the road right now, so he's gonna jump in when he gets a chance. But
Yeah, he'll probably be on in like 20
we're
minutes.
live. We're live.
Yeah.
We're gonna wait. So obviously, it finally happened. The trailer came out.
Yes, it did.
That's the big thing. But
Tears
we're
in my
gonna wait
eyes.
for Adam. Yeah, right. We're gonna wait for Adam to talk about that. I have extremely detailed notes, literally down
Oh,
to the
nice.
minutes.
I can't wait to hear him. I've been I've
What?
been holding back on watching those videos where they break it down really far because I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah, I've actually been holding off on them too because I want to see if my theories, like, I want to talk to you guys about my
Yeah.
theories first and then see if they match up at all with what they said.
Yeah, because
Because I have seen a ton of videos.
I always get them in like recommended, and I saw one that was
Yep.
like 30 minutes long, and I was like, oh boy.
Oh yeah, man, people are getting into it. That night, I was on the phone with Andy for literally 2 hours
Andy
while we were
D.
talking about like, yeah, Andy D. We were, we were talking about the trailer for literally 2 hours, like throwing out like as many theories as we could possibly think. We even had a theory for the Porg and Chewie that I'm gonna talk about a little bit. It's nothing like too crazy, but he hates the Porgs. He's
What?
like, oh, I think they're so dumb. Yeah, I was like, what
What
do you
the
mean? Why do you
heck?
hate them? Like, there's no reason to hate
They
them.
haven't done
Like,
anything wrong yet.
exactly, that's what I mean. I'm like, they just like so far the only thing we've seen them do is be in like that little
It's super cute.
behind the scenes thing, and then yeah, it was dude. That scene with Chewie and the Porg was adorable.
Oh my
That
gosh.
was adorable. I
Not to
was
mention like
this.
like when they're flying and it looks beautiful wherever they're at.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was a gorgeous trailer.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, as far as the beta goes, it's over, guys. That's why we're back on Battlefront.
Sad day,
Back
sad
on
day.
Sad day. But let us know in the comments while we have a little bit of time. I know we're just getting started, so but while we have a little bit of time, let us know in the comments what you guys thought of the beta. What's up? What's up? What's up? Who is Jared? Ha 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 ha.
He's trolling. He
Hilarious.
knows who I am.
That's hilarious.
He's trolling.
Death Trooper, you'll be so excited to know that the person we tried to give the game away to didn't claim it, so we still have the code available.
Death Trooper's gonna
Still
cry.
got a code available. I know Death Trooper's gonna be so excited that
Yeah.
that they have another chance to win.
So you want to go
You got
through
another
like
chance, man.
you want to go through like your pros and cons of the beta, or what was it like? What was your favorite part?
I definitely want to go through my pros and cons of the beta. So I'll start with my pros. Pros, it was a massive leap Like, and I think that's the one thing we all need to keep in mind before we start criticizing the heck out of this new game. It's a huge leap from Battlefront.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm actually like super bummed to be going back and playing this right now. Like, the beta was such a big difference. Like, everything that we asked for when it came to like, you know, things that were available to us, like different guns, being able to customize, like things like that.
It was all there.
We got it. We got all of that, and not only that, but you know, so my other pros were the heroes themselves. Like, I really thought the heroes were. I know right now, and I know that's probably what a lot of people are going to be talking about, not only just in our stream, but and you know, all over the place. I've seen it all over already. Is that they're saying, and I know we talked about a little bit last night too when we were just playing, but people are saying that you know, heroes are super overpowered. But like, I agreed with what you guys were saying last night, and I don't think that's the case at all. Like, I think that they're adequately powered and they're a lot of fun to play as.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we talked about it. I think I just tried to forward roll. It doesn't work in this game. But I think like they should be.
I keep trying to do the same thing.
I think they should be overpowered like that, and I didn't think they were too overpowered. I thought, if anything, they were like a little bit underpowered from what I thought they would be. Because they die really quick.
They went down quick. Yeah, they went down super quick. Like, that was that's what I found frustrating. If there was any con to the heroes at all, I think it was one, they went down too quick, and two, I didn't feel like I got to play with them as much as I wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that comes down to, you know, that comes down to battle points. But
yeah.
Even when I was scoring the battle points, and then I would have the chance to get it,
someone else is already playing as it.
Somebody had already snatched it.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh man.
That's what, like, everyone was like backloading and like, you know, just saving up for the 5,000 points. And then by the time you get it, you can't play as them. So there's really no point in saving up.
So I kind of switched up my tactic, and I found that when I was trying to save up for the points, I wouldn't end with as good of a score. But like, if I was just like, you know what, forget it, I'm just gonna get the jump trooper, get the battle droid, you know, the B2 battle droid, and just, you know, mess around with them. You know, my score would
probably have
go
a better
up because
score.
I'd be getting more kills. Exactly, I wouldn't be waiting for that one chance at the end to get like
exactly.
a little streak.
And that's what I was hoping most people would figure out.
Streaks.
But I don't know. Like,
I'm sure people will figure it out as the game continues.
Yeah, because if you have a team that's just saving up the whole time, then you're gonna only be able to play like 2 heroes at a time. So there's really no point in saving up all, like, if everyone saves up. So I think more and more people are figuring out that the jump trooper is actually really good too. So
the jump trooper was really good because if you can get like because the issue was people were trying to use the jump trooper like they do with the basically rocket snipe, you know,
smart
combo
rocket
from this game. Yeah, it's just basically, you know, jump up in the air, smart rocket.
Yeah, and that would work to an extent, but then if you put yourself in a bad situation, you're done.
Yeah, your positioning had to be good, exactly. And I found out with like the battle droids, because I had a lot of fun playing as a separatist, so I was like kind of like, you know, taking notes in my head more while I was playing as them, as like what I liked or didn't like. And as I was playing as the separatist, I liked when I could be the B2 battle droid, and you know, you could do the rocket one.
Yeah.
I found that when I jumped in, got like my kills, and then jumped out, found some cover, healed up, jumped out, you know, jumped back in, got some kills, you know, and then used my strength. So if I found like I was like, you know, kind of trying to like push into the, you know, palace or whatever.
Yeah.
I would start to, you know, use my rocket a little bit more because that's when people are kind of bunched up, you know what I mean?
Yep, and that's when you started getting like double kills with it, which is actually really hard because the rockets aren't super powerful. So.
Exactly, they're not.
Yeah, I like the jump trooper, and I think more people like will start realizing if they're not starting off good, they'll be more inclined to like use a jump trooper instead of saving up for Ray or something. So.
Yeah, you should do that because then it works out better for you in the end. Like,
and it helps your team out.
Like, it definitely helps your team out, and that's in the end, like, you get points for team, like, and that's another pro I can say. And before I move on to my other one, because it kind of meshes with what I'm about to say, Death Trooper says a pro for me is the objective-based things you
have
to
I actually
you have
wrote
to
that
earn
one
to be
down.
a hero.
Yeah, I actually wrote that one down because the points were definitely favored in like you playing objective. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that because it's no longer like this game where it's like right now it's just basically let's just try to get as many kills
Let's
as
just
we can.
kill everything.
And that's the end, like that's all that you do. And I mean, obviously, like on this one, you have to get like the gas generators or whatever. But because everything's timed, it doesn't feel like there's a rush or that there's like, you know, and because it's done in. I feel like the closest thing that comes to it is the Rogue One DLC and
Yep.
the Death Star DLC.
I was just about to say that.
Those are the only ones that come
Where it's
that
like
close to it
objective
because
matters.
it's in stages.
But even then, the points like it didn't really add up. Like it was.
They don't feel the same. They
Yeah.
don't feel right.
You got. I think you got like 500 points.
For playing the objective.
Exactly. It was more about getting kills, and that was the most rewarding thing. So they definitely fixed that, and that will probably go into one of our negatives later. But you can keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. I guess if that's any con, like for sure, that was one of mine where like it was like I really liked the objective-based play and all that, but I will say like one thing that kind of would not stress me out or whatever was that it felt, and like we talked about this too last night, but that it felt one-sided.
Yeah.
Depending on
the objectives.
on what map you were playing.
Yeah, the objectives were kind of one-sided. Yeah, I agree. It was, I mean, not one-sided, but it was like some of them were definitely easier for like the CIS or the Rebels. So
unless you had a team that was really like on point, like I felt like there was no way. Like there were some times where, like when I was playing Strike, there were times where I'm like, there's no way that these guys aren't in a squad, like, and they're all on hikes because they were all coming in like perfectly tactical,
certain time,
like snatching the thing, like coming out like in a team, like waiting to go like one after the other. Like I was like, they are clearly talking to each other because there's no way people can do that.
And that was my main con was where is the team chat? Like, where is it? It's great that they made an objective-based game, but like, come on, put in some team chat for us.
I'm really hoping that was just the beta. Like, I'm really hoping.
It could be, but I don't know why they wouldn't do that. Yeah, that's true.
Because I remember during the beta, during this game, I'm like, where's the team chat? Oh, this is just the beta. They can't not have a team chat. And then the game came, and I was like, wow, they really didn't have a team chat. Like, they really didn't go
Maybe that's just a Battlefront thing now. And I don't get it.
I just don't understand why they don't have a team chat. Like, I really just don't get it. Like,
it's silly.
To me, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it really was kind of... It's necessary, like you just said, for objective-based gameplay.
Yeah, there were times where I would grab up the Ion thing, I forget what it's called, and you know, you'd be like, oh, like it'd be nice if I could tell someone to watch my back here because I'm about to, you know, shut down the MTT.
Yeah.
And you know, there's no way for me to do that.
Where it comes in handy. I guess that's where it comes in handy when you get more points for playing the objective. So it gives people the incentive to be like, oh, he's got the ion cannon, let me get his back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
because I would be one of those players who would like get the dude, like, you know, try to cover the guy who was clearly trying to run in and get the ion cannon because you would get team play points. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But there's just no way for you to communicate that, which is a bummer. Other than like you actually physically looking and be like, oh, that guy has the ion torpedo. Let's cover him. But yeah, that was my main negative from the beta, and I hope they fix it.
Other than that, I think like so which one was which one was your favorite map all around?
I would say the Palace was my favorite. Like just looking. But I would say I had more fun playing on Naboo, only because the Palace seemed kind of small to me, and I was kind of like limited to where I could go. But Naboo, you could like literally go anywhere. But they both looks wise, they looked amazing, both of them. But
yeah, Maz's Palace was
incredible.
It was. I had that same moment I did when we picked up this game and I played on Hoth for the first time, and I was like, "Oh man, this is incredible!" Like,
fly down the snow speeder, you're like, "Oh!"
Yeah. It felt like it brought me right there.
Oh, look who it is!
It's that Atom. It's that Atom.
What's up,
join us?
Is that a pain?
My TV to work.
That sucks. Yeah.
Well, you know, that sucks. Well, you're here now.
Here I am.
that's what's
I'm
good.
committed.
We're talking about the
So
pros and
we've
cons.
just been chatting
I'm
about
sitting here in the
beta.
hotel room with my wife and baby, but I'm here for talking Sith. Don't worry.
Thanks, man. We really appreciate it. Carly's probably like, I hate these guys.
I used to hear her talk about the show. It's
the
pretty
worst
funny.
thing.
Like, I hate these two so much. Been taking him away. How's it been, man? Real quick, like, how's
Pretty good, man.
it been? Like,
I'm enjoying it.
training and having your family there. That must be awesome.
Ah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But we've been talking about real quick. Your quick pros and cons from the beta.
The pros were that a lot of the complaints, a lot of haters of Battlefront 1 had were solved. So it is definitely a more competitive shooter. The classes work well. Some of them are a little imbalanced, but in general, a class system works well in a Battlefront type game, at least, which is cool.
Yeah.
Cons, I feel like it was really heavy on the shooter aspects and almost more than the Star Wars aspects, whereas Battlefront 1 was really heavily Star Wars, and then there were definitely shooter aspects. Battlefront 2's beta felt like Call of Duty or Battlefield game with Star Wars skins, but even the guns felt like guns, not blasters, or the maps felt like a shooter map, not a Star Wars map. Just the Star Wars slapped on it for pizzazz. So I'm hoping that the second one is, once the full game comes out, is a little bit more immersive than the beta felt in terms of Star Wars, because the first one, that's what I love so much about it, is you immediately, from the word go, felt like you were running around in Empire Strikes Back or in Return of the Jedi or whatever. Whereas I feel like this new one felt kind of like you were playing a shooter that happened to have Star Wars skins. And I happen to be, I mean, just personally, I know I'm in the minority here, but I happen to be more of a Star Wars fan than a shooter fan. And I'm not asking for it to be a Star Wars game and be a terrible shooter. I would just like it to be a balance between the two. And the first one was not a balance. The first one was way Star Wars and no shooter. And the second one feels like it's way shooter and not very much Star Wars. So I'm hoping that once the full game comes out, it's a little bit more balanced in terms of
I agree with
Star
that.
Wars versus shooter.
I think they're trying to make up for that in like the hero gameplay, but we don't really get enough
I'm
hero
hoping
gameplay.
so. And even the Starfighter felt like a Star Wars game, which was
But it's
cool. But it
crosshair
wasn't. But it wasn't. It wasn't as immersive as the first game. Like the sounds in the first game are just, you totally feel like you're just surrounded by Star Wars. Like you could get stomped on by a walker any second, or a TIE fighter could just scream into you at any moment. And I didn't feel like that in this one. I felt like I was playing a shooter. Even strategically, I felt like I was running around like I feel like when I'm playing a shooter, as opposed to the first one where I just felt totally awed by the Star Wars aspect of it. So I'm hoping that I don't mind playing a fun shooter and having a Star Wars skin on it. I just hope that it has a little bit more fan service, like the first one did.
I think it
once
will.
it comes out.
Once it comes out,
Yeah,
it will,
I think so too. I have faith that it will for sure. And there seems to be a lot of depth when it comes to building your characters how you want them to be, which is really cool.
That's the one thing I definitely enjoyed.
Yeah, I think that'll be neat. I hope that there's a lot of Star Wars stuff in it. And again, I'm sure there will be. But even beyond just the heroes, because the first one, it wasn't just the heroes that made it feel like Star Wars. Like each blaster, you could pinpoint exactly in the movie where it came from, and it sounded exactly like a blaster. Or each ship had like its own little, you know, nuances that were Star Wars related. Whereas this new one feels like you're playing with Call of Duty type guns, and I'm not the world's
especially
biggest,
like that CR2 gun definitely felt like that. It felt like you were like, I felt like I'm just like, the one thing it was missing was just hearing the bullets hit the ground. That was like the only thing.
Yeah, but the only thing we're missing is kill streaks. But other than that, it was good. I had fun with it, and it was cool that they limited each game type to one map. That was fine. It was fun. I'm hoping that the game is, this is good. The only thing that was weird is that it didn't have team chat, and I know that we were all.
We just said that. We just like rained down on them for not having team chat again.
Because it wasn't even that we were expecting it. It was like a foregone conclusion to us that it would have it. Like we weren't even.
Yeah, we were sold that there would be no question.
Right. So
It like
so
has
that
to
was
be.
pretty weird.
It's just weird that it's not. I wonder what their
I
reasoning
know
is.
that I
Like, for
saw
the...
other people were in the forums saying the exact same thing, so I'm
Yeah.
hoping that EA will kind of jump on that before before the
It
game
just
comes
seems like
out.
an easy thing. Like it's
It
just what
doesn't seem like
everything
something
has.
difficult to do.
No.
Like I just don't get, especially like Jared said. He's like, you know, he was like, it's objective based. Why wouldn't you put a team chat so you guys
Yeah.
can figure out the objective? You know, like without
It would
it,
just
it's
make the
Even
kinda
game so much
silly.
better.
objectives were not really objectives. That was my other complaint, is that there wasn't really much. I mean, if you were just running around and shooting, it didn't matter what mode you were playing. You could win. Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is hold down square for a second, and then the game's the same exact way. You just have an object on your back. So I hope that the objectives are a little bit more deep and Star Wars related, like the first one had, as opposed to just, you know, shooting but in different parts of the map, shooting the other team or moving in a wave towards another part of the map. Because
I felt like
that's,
these
not
objectives
as
were more engaging than the last one for sure.
Well, I just thought the last one had more variety, like drop zone or cargo.
Oh, I
or-
see what you
yeah,
mean. This one, they
was
felt
just
like you were doing the
shooting
same
in
thing in
different
each one.
spots. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's I can understand that. I definitely see that. But
Like domination even would be cool, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know.
domination would be cool. Yeah.
I definitely have high hopes, and I'm not at all discouraged by what the beta gave us, with the exception of maybe the game chat thing. But other than that, everything about the beta just made me. I would say that I'm disappointed that it didn't increase my excitement level for the new game as I thought it would. But I'm still as excited as it was pre-beta. I just thought the beta was gonna jack me up all the way.
Yeah, I was gonna get jacked up off this thing. I mean, I definitely enjoyed the beta immensely, and I'm pretty stoked all around. Like mostly after seeing, and we'll talk about this like pretty soon, obviously, but after seeing the trailer and seeing the
That just got me
possibilities.
stoked.
Yeah, seeing the possibilities of what could be in the game because of the trailer was like, oh man, that got me really excited too. Because
Makes you wonder what they were holding back for the beta. Like,
yeah, like I keep thinking to myself, like, there's gonna be a lot in this game, especially if it's gonna be from all different eras. So, oh wow, there's just me and Adam in this game right now.
I'm actually gonna dashboard, and I'll continue talking, but I have the world's worst connection right now, so I'll stay into the conversation, but I can't even run.
oh, you guys backed out. I didn't even know you backed out.
Yeah, I'm backing out right now. But so we'll start talking about the trailer, because honestly, I don't want to I want to use as much time for that as we can. So I wanted to get talking about the beta out of the way.
That was easily the biggest Star Wars news. Yeah, the beta was all well and good, but the people who really care about the beta. Oh, I forgot I can't forward roll. The people that really care about the beta either played it or watched our 24-hour stream. The trailer is
the trailer is what's going on. So, I mean, I don't know where you guys want to start, because it's really, there's a lot to talk about. But, I mean, I have several notes, and the first thing that I had written down was just that first line that we hear from Snoke. So, the first thing we hear from Snoke, and I want to see what you guys think of my little theory. Now, first off, if you haven't seen the trailer, we are at, and I know some people listen to the recordings of these, so we are at, I'm not sure what minutes, how many minutes, but pause it, or stop
Go
it,
watch it,
or something. Go watch it now, because we're about to talk about it, and we're going to give some things away. So, spoiler alerts, I guess. So, yeah, go check that out. Because we're starting now. So, when it first starts, we hear Snoke, and he says, when I found you, I saw, what was it, raw untamed power, and beyond that, something special.
Yeah.
And that obviously, like, gave me a chill, because I'm like, you know, obviously, we think he's talking about Kylo Ren.
Yep.
Which is awesome. But then Luke goes on to say, a little, like 57 seconds later, I saw, you know, this raw strength only once before, and it didn't scare me then, and it does now. So I'm thinking these are my thoughts on these very similar statements.
Let's hear it, Chaz.
I think that Snoke is talking about Rey, and I think that Luke is talking about Palpatine.
What? That's what you got?
He's talking about the Emperor.
Nah, I think they're talking about Rey and Kylo.
No,
Yeah.
That's what I got from that.
I think that's what they want us to think, but I don't think that's what's happening.
No, you're right.
I think.
Here comes Adam to
That's a
shut it
bad
down.
theory, Chaz.
Shut it down.
No, I'm telling you, I think that they're talking about. I don't think that he's talking about Kylo because
why do you not
obviously
think that?
Because that seems too obvious. That's really the only reason why that I think that it would be too obvious that he was saying that line directly to Kylo, and it's such a powerful line, and it's like in the trailer. So I'm like,
Yeah.
why would they give us such a powerful line in the trailer?
I think they're saying that to
knowing
make
that,
you
like-
realize how powerful Rey and Kylo actually are.
Yeah,
Like-
I think it's obvious, but I also think it's definitely about Kylo Ren. I don't think there's any question. There's no way. Zero.
So
I
what
think-
are you basing it on?
I
Like,
think it could be about right. I'm basing it on.
Because think about what he says. The way he says it, like he didn't fear it then because it wasn't powerful. Like it wasn't raw power. It was ambition that Palpatine had, and it wasn't intimidating to Luke because he was beyond ambition when he.
and then right after that, didn't they Didn't they flash to the
point
ashes?
I was making.
like didn't it flash to the part where Luke's like crawling out of the ashes? Isn't that the next
Yeah.
part? Which would be
Yeah.
Kylo.
I think for sure he's talking about Kylo Ren.
I'm
no
talking
question.
about Kylo. All right. Well, we'll see.
I don't think
I
the
think
Emperor
he's
will be
talking-
referenced that much in this one at all. I think that there's a
think
lot
that-
of theories that he will be, but I think that I don't think so. I think he will be big in Battlefront's storyline, but
Yeah.
I don't think that he's going to be a part of Last Jedi at all.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We will see.
I
Do
just
you
don't.
think he's talking about Kylo?
I know
think
he's
that
talking
you
about
might
Kylo.
be
Slap it.
right. I think I don't disagree with you. Obviously, I think
We
that you
already
might be
have
right.
like
I
3
just think
slap-ups
that
going.
but I definitely think that it could possibly be that he's talking about Palpatine, and he's like, "Oh, I wasn't afraid of it then, this type of power, but I am, now."
Right. See, I think
But-
that Rey and Kylo are both more powerful
Yeah,
than Palpatine.
That's what I was just about to
and
say.
that Luke wasn't afraid of Palpatine for good reason. He had no reason to be because he was beyond temptation when he met him. He was either going to die or he was going to get out, but there was no fear. And I think that with Kylo Ren, he took for granted that he wouldn't turn, and he did. And I think that he fears just that raw emotional power that the dark side unlocked in Kylo Ren, and doesn't want it to unlock in Rey too. Because there's no controlling it. Palpatine was in total control of it. He was just in it for himself, whereas Kylo Ren is not in control of it. And Snoke wants it that way. So I think that Luke
That's
is
true. I
probably
guess if I
more
was to
afraid of
use
the
a
lack of
word
control.
that would describe Palpatine's power, it wouldn't be raw. Even though it was it was power and it was intense,
Yeah,
it
I
wouldn't
think-
be raw power.
I
would
think
say it was
Adam
much
nailed it
more
on the
control.
head. Ambition and control. Like that's what
Yeah,
Palpatine
Yeah,
was.
that's
I
what
mean,
the
if you
Jedi
look at the
thing is.
Empire, then the way the Empire operates, it's all about control anyway. So yeah, you're right. If
Right,
you're just
and not the
talking
First
about
Order. And we've talked about that before, I think. But I think
Yeah.
that Kylo Ren represents everything that you don't want a Darksider to be. Like, he's just super over the top powerful because he's so emo about it and so emotional that there's no reeling him in. Whereas, and Luke kind of felt like that a couple times too, like when he defied Yoda and went to rescue his friends on Bespin, and he really kind of recognizes what it's like to overcome that emotion and be a little bit more stoic like he was at the beginning of Jedi. So I think that he's definitely talking about Kylo and Ren. I don't think there's any question.
yeah, you're right. I think maybe I was just hoping that.
I think you're hoping for this.
love of
Yeah.
Palpatine would be in there.
You watched that
it's just
trailer
one of those
way
theory-
too many times.
Yeah, I watched it a lot. So I started getting deep into some weird stuff. But yeah, then
That's the focus.
You're in the weird part of YouTube again.
Erica says it makes me think Luke won't train her and she'll go to the dark side.
Yep.
Death Trooper agrees with that and
Yeah,
says
we've had that theory probably like a month ago, and I think that
and I think that you know, I was just gonna say that we did talk about that theory before, and I think that the trailer almost not confirmed that theory, but definitely backed it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And Erica also says that she doesn't think Kylo is fully on the dark side. There's that scene where he looked like he sent his mom on board that ship, and I was just about to talk about that. So great. The next part I wanted to talk about was
that. We talked about that too, because if we said, I think like a month ago, if there's one thing that's going to pull him back from the brink, that killing Han pushed him over, it's Leia.
Yeah,
or Rey because they're siblings, but I don't
they're definitely not siblings. But
but I don't think I think that Erica's right about that too. I think that his hesitation shows some good in him, and when Leia calls it out, she says, "I feel good in him," just like Luke says about Vader. So I think that he'll be turned.
I think
so too.
So sad.
He's not in this movie.
So before I get into, while you're talking about people being turned, I have a little bit of a theory. But before I get into it, at 1 minute and 8 seconds, Kylo starts in the trailer. He starts saying, "Let the past die," and kill everything that's in your way, basically. And that's only way to become what you want to be. And towards the end of the trailer, we obviously see that Rey asks for help from Kylo. I think this is the advice that Kylo gives Rey. Like, that speech there is the actual, what he tells her. And that it might be in reference to not necessarily killing something that's like a person, because obviously we hear him say it as he's about to shoot down Leia, or what we think is him about to shoot down Leia, but he says it during that scene, so we get the impression like, oh, he's gonna kill off all these people. But I think he's talking about more of like killing off parts of yourself, which might mean he needs to kill off the dark side of himself, not the light side. You know what I mean? So
I think that's a pretty interesting way to look at it, and I could see being right more than the Palpatine thing for sure. But I think that there's an interesting theory out there that Rey and Kylo basically switch sides in this one, and I could see that happening. I could see Rey being confused enough to go dark, and I could see Kylo being not able to go light.
So I think that we were wrong about what we said about Luke, and that I think that it's going to be that Kylo and Rey switch to the light side, and it's Luke and Snoke on the dark side in the end. Because during
you're way off.
Well,
I don't know about that, man.
All I'm saying is during the trailer, Luke and Rey clearly weren't getting along. It did not seem like they were buddies.
He's a salt truck right now.
Yeah,
one scene, they're obviously about to fight. You know what I mean? Like, they get into a little tiff during one scene, because you see him kind of like on the ground a little bit, and her kind of standing over him.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So they clearly fight at some point in time.
I don't think they fight, man. I think they have a disagreement, and I think Rey leaves.
I know what you're talking about in the trailer. I think that she's probably saying, "I'm gonna go rescue my friend."
Yeah, and he's like, "Don't do that. You're gonna die."
He's like, "Don't do it. That's a trap. They want to capture you."
Been there, done that.
Right, and yes, I don't think. Like I've said multiple times on this show, I think if Luke was going to be turned, it would have happened a long time ago. Anything that could have tempted him has already happened.
I don't know.
Snoke's got nothing on him.
I feel like that Luke's gonna let Rey walk, not fully train her, try to save her, and then die.
Similar to Yoda.
Yeah. But this time he's gonna actually go and try to save her, and it's not gonna work out. That's what I think's gonna happen. And then Rey's gonna be pretty much lost at that point, and that's when Kylo's like, "Listen, let's team up." That's what I think's gonna happen.
I could see that.
Yeah,
I see that more than Luke turning.
Yeah, Luke going dark, I just can't buy into, man. Like, why would he do it now of all times?
He just seems.
It would've
The only
happened in
reason why I'm
Empire
thinking it's
or
possible is because he
in,
just
Jedi.
seems so bummed this entire trailer.
Yeah, he's
This
bummed,
whole
bro.
trailer.
Because everything sucks.
Yeah,
like,
and I mean,
it's super heavy for him to know that Kylo
his
betrayed
nephew
him
that
and
he
then went
loved
off
is
and
just,
killed his best friend.
yeah, messing up.
Yeah.
Like that's a
Maybe.
bummer, but it's not enough to turn him dark. It's enough to say maybe there shouldn't be sides anymore.
Yeah.
Because what's
Yeah.
the point? But
I
I
don't
think
it's enough
that
to
I
turn
think I
him
agree
dark.
with that. That there shouldn't be sides anymore.
I think
David
it's just,
Withers says, "How can Kylo come back to the light? He killed his dad, even though he didn't kill his mom. He did murder his father.
Anakin
There's no
killed
redemption.
tons of
There's a
younglings.
different relationship, bro.
Anakin
yeah, look
did
at
kill
Anakin.
tons
He
of
would have come
younglings.
back for Shmi.
Like,
And he was able to come back by
if
throwing
Shmi
Yeah.
hadn't-
a man off a
If he
building.
hadn't died, Anakin would have come back
Transports will be here in just a moment.
for sure.
yeah.
Or if Padme had been around.
It's more of like it's not like,
Some
I
other
don't know,
something.
a religious thing like you know, you kill one person and you can never come back. It's more of like how you feel at heart, I guess, like the balance you have.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
If anything, killing one person might make it easier for him to come back because
Yeah.
he knows
Yeah.
how dark he went.
That's true. That's true. Andy says he thinks
And we saw
Kylo
him
and Rey go
struggle
rogue.
when he killed. He struggled when he killed Han.
Yeah, he
had
did
to
struggle.
find road.
It wasn't easy for
He
him.
did struggle with it.
And you've seen the same struggle, if not more, in the trailer. Like, killing your dad would be
Right.
probably easier overall, as much as
Killing
messed
your
up
dad,
as I said.
that's what I was going to say. Killing your
But
dad
killing
is
your
one thing,
mom
but killing your mom
like,
is one
designed
thing.
to it. Han
Yeah.
was there to die. Like he was like, all right, I gotta get him off the hook, and he was there to
Yeah.
help Kylo out of the situation. So I don't think he's fully gone, and I think that if anyone can bring him back, it's Leia, unless it's Rey because they're siblings. But
Yeah,
Just keep throwing that out there.
yeah,
they are
yeah,
guaranteed.
sure. I mean, my only answer to how he can be trusted, Dave, is that, if you don't mind if I call you Dave,
Good old Dave.
the only way I think
Mr.
he
Withers.
can be trusted is that he can't be. So I think that
What
the
other choice
relationship
would they
that
have,
him and
though?
Rey, well, exactly the relationship that him and Rey would build would be on the fact that she can't trust him all the way. So
Yeah.
everything that they do, she almost gains a little bit more respect and more trust for him because she knows that he could betray him at any possible moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if they do have a relationship, I think it will be built off of, you know, this idea of like he could turn on me at any second, but he doesn't, and that's what makes it work out. My only question is, you know, I don't think they're siblings, but is there some sort of weird love triangle that we might see happen between Finn, Rey, and
No,
Kylo, where like
dude,
Rey and
man.
Kylo like kind of like each other, and Finn tries to be like, hey man,
Dude, there's
what's
too
going
many.
on? Like,
There's so many Raylo fan pages out there that I don't think it
don't
will
want
happen.
to see Kylo and Rey be siblings. I'd like to see them maybe get to. Actually, no, I need Finn to be with Rey. I mean, my brother's got to
Nah,
get some.
Finn's
That's
already
how
with
it's gotta
Poe.
go. Finn's already with Poe. Dude, so many people think Finn and Poe are together, and I'm like, you know what? I guess that's cool, but Finn is definitely not dark now. If there's anyone who's not going to turn to the dark side ever, it's going to be Finn. Because he was already on the dark side. Why would he turn back to it?
I don't know.
That wouldn't make any sense. Because, yeah, Death Trooper saying Finn is dark now. I definitely don't think so. I think
Well,
the
he's
uniform is...
clashing with Phasma, so I don't
He's
know about
dark
that.
skinned. That uniform he had on wasn't a First Order uniform. That's a Resistance officer uniform.
How sick is that fight gonna be though? Phasma and Finn.
Yeah,
That's gonna
oh
be
my
so
God.
sick.
That one,
'Cause we haven't
seen-
that they're hunting for Finn. I can't wait for.
We haven't seen
Wait,
Phasma in
I can't
action
wait.
except for Game of Thrones, so I can't wait.
Except for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and deleted scenes.
Yeah.
And deleted scenes, yeah, from Force
So,
Awakens.
I think she's gonna come out pretty strong in this movie.
Yeah, well, what's
kinda has to.
interesting about that scene is like unless Finn escapes or Phasma escapes, it looks like they're about, like I said yesterday, it looks like
I
they're
don't
about
know
to
why
fight to the
they
death.
think that. No. Star Wars has fights like that all the time where no one dies. All
It
the
looks
time.
like one of them
There's
might not
fewer
escape
fights
that
in
fight.
Star Wars where someone dies than otherwise.
You think if Finn
That's
wins,
true.
he's just gonna execute her and just like, he's just finish her
Pull
off right
pull
there?
a Dooku.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think he's
Well,
gonna
I guess
injure her.
I guess the point I'm
and then
trying
she'll
to make
probably get
more
away.
than someone dies or lives is that
I think they are
someone's gonna
trying
win
to
and
fight
someone's
to
gonna
death,
lose.
but no one's,
You know what I mean?
no
There'll
one's
be like
gonna
a
die.
winner or a loser to the fight. And because this is the second iteration of it, I'm thinking obviously Finn might win, but that might bode poorly
nice, dude.
for another
You're a
character.
poet.
I don't know. We'll see. I think that I
But
think
how
their fight
good
will be
that
cool.
seem
I think it will be less climactic than the trailer makes it appear to be.
Yeah.
Like it won't be as
Yeah.
big a part of the movie. But I don't think one of them will die. Or at least if one of them dies, I won't be surprised. But I don't think one of them will die based off that trailer. Just based off how they're fighting. Because
Okay.
Star Wars has fights, literally more fights than not. Someone does not die. Like look at Luke and Vader, or
No, you're right. More
Qui-Gon
often than
and
not, someone
Darth Maul.
does not die. All I'm saying is that, like, well, Qui-Gon and
Yoda
Darth Maul, he
all the
died in
time.
that. Qui-Gon died in that.
No, on Tatooine though.
Oh.
Or
I'm like,
or
that's a
look at
terrible
Yoda
example.
and like anybody, like Yoda and Dooku, Yoda and the Emperor. I just feel
I
like there's
guess.
a lot of fights
Dude,
where
freaking what's his name
they
got
wanna kill each
decapitated? Dooku got decapitated.
Yeah, but that was
not
like
in, not in
that
his
was
fight,
shocking.
though.
that was just to get you shook, man.
Yoda didn't kill him.
Nah.
Yeah,
He hasn't
more
really killed
often than
anybody.
Erica says, more often than not, someone loses a hand. That's very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, I
That's
could be
very
thinking
true. Maybe
They
Finn
lose
loses a
limbs.
hand. Maybe he's gonna be
What's
the
the
newest
odds on
person
that?
to lose a hand.
Ray's
That'd
gonna
be
lose a hand.
awesome if Finn was the one to lose the hand and not Ray. Did you
That
find
would
your
be
shoes?
cool. Yes.
Yes,
Sorry.
it's okay.
It's alright. I'll let it slide this time.
I forgive you.
Sorry.
Dude, my aim is terrible in this game right
Okay.
now.
Sorry.
I'm playing
have a good night.
Sonic.
You're playing Sonic?
will.
But yeah, so either way, sorry about that. Amber was on her way out the door, and
I
she
think we
lost
can
her
agree that the
shoes.
Porg was easily the best part
Oh
of the
my
show.
gosh. dude.
That was amazing. The Porg was amazing. So I was thinking today, because I had to yell at somebody because they were saying that they think the Porgs are dumb, and I just thought that was such a terrible thing to say. I like the Porgs, and I think that the fact that every toy I've seen that has a Porg in it also has Chewie in it, unless it's like a
They're
plush
homies.
thing.
Stuffed
But
animal.
any they're like everything I've seen, like toy wise though, they're in everything together, and now I'm seeing them in this scene together. I think that Rey and Chewie obviously get there, they're there, and you know Chewie's lonely, like he just lost Han. So I think like this
Right.
Porg is kind of like this. Like I was also saying, like this is gonna be a really dark story, and
Yeah,
it's gonna be
they'll be
really
really-
heavy. They're gonna be the relationship between the Porg and Chewie is gonna be what people find endearing about this movie, because like that's also the thing we have to remember about Star Wars is there's always that character, or there's always that thing, or like even that moment that we find endearing about the movie that like we can kind of like be like, oh, that's so cute, or it's for the kids or whatever. But you know, I've always liked that about Star Wars, where they have that thing that you know you can rely on to go back to, that's like, you know, a little bit of comedy. Like even the relationship between K2SO and Jyn Erso was endearing, and it was like cute, and it was funny, you know what I mean? And even though there wasn't a lot of comic relief in that movie, the moments between them really did lighten the tension and make things a little bit like smoother.
Yeah.
So like I think
Yeah,
that
no, Star Wars always has something like that, and
Exactly.
the Porgs are cute as hell, and I have
Porg-
this toy Porg with me here.
oh
But no, I
nice, he's
think
already
that
got
they're
one. That's
pretty
awesome.
cool. I got him on a Disney. But yeah, that part of the trailer was pretty cool, and I like all the Porg memes that Mark Hamill posted today.
Oh, so funny.
Dude,
And,
Mark Hamill is the GOAT, man. He's amazing.
That post, like, I swear to God, if a single Porg dies, I will burn the franchise to the ground.
Yeah, he was so like not having it, dude. I was dying. I was on his Twitter and on his Facebook all day today because he was cracking me up, man. Like him and Ryan Johnson both had some awesome tweets today. Like they both
Yeah,
had some really good tweets. And not only that, but John Boyega put up a really good tweet. Oh man, I meant to save it and I didn't, but it was like super like enigmatic, where he was like something about the fight, like something about somebody walking away from the fight. It was like, oh, you're really gonna want to see who like walks away from this one, or something like that. And I'm like, oh man, what does that mean? what does that mean, dude? I think Finn goes in. I think Finn goes in, dude. I think Finn goes hard. I think he like puts in some work against Phasma. I think he kicks her butt. That's what I think happens. I think it comes down to the wire. Maybe not. I think he'll show her mercy.
I mean, he might movie guy like Boba Fett does, and actually be alive in the canon.
And actually not be. Is he like confirmed to not be dead?
Oh yeah, he's on. Well, I don't know what's canon anymore, but he was in all the extended universe stuff.
Oh, that's right. Speaking of the extended universe, only to get off topic for 1 second, did you see that they made a Black Series 6-inch figure of the Han Solo's daughter from the extended univeris? Jaina Solo. They had a 6. Oh my gosh! I was like, what? I was freaking out because I saw it and I like for a minute, like someone said, "Oh, did you know Han Solo has a daughter?" And I was like, "Yeah, you know, from the extended universe." Like, no, look, it's like coming out now. I was like, "Wait, what?" And they completely confused me because I was like, "Why would they put that out like ahead of time?" But yeah, that was pretty cool.
I like all those characters. It was a cool story.
Yeah, if you guys ever, everybody listening, if you ever have a chance to get into some of the extended universe stuff, I know that Star Wars is moving forward really quickly and really fast, but in the lulls that we have between movies, I would definitely suggest going back and rereading and, you know, checking out some comic books of the old stuff, the extended universe, because I've been diving back into some of the books, and they're all really, really good. Really good. And like I said, Timothy Zahn, read some. I've been rereading some of his old stuff, man. He really is awesome. But yeah, his books are incredible. I've been like I said, I've been rereading a lot of his old stuff, and it's it's so intense. But yeah, if you guys have some time, go through that old stuff. But yeah, the other things I want to talk about from the trailer were just kind of like the obvious stuff. Like I think that they kind of obviously put the line in, "This is not going to go the way you think."
Yeah.
That he says they obviously put that in for a reason. Disney did to kind of like I don't know if they did that for one to think like oh, maybe all this is like throwing us off, or you're putting this in there specifically to think that all this is throwing us off or something like that. Right. But I feel like that was directed towards the audience a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And then, obviously, the other thing was, at the end, Rey, you know, puts her hand out, or I'm sorry, not that part. I wanted to talk about Rey getting tortured, by Snoke.
Yeah.
That was pretty intense.
Super intense.
How do you think, because obviously she's gonna get away from it somehow, and I mean, this is really something that's hard to speculate on because this is basically trying to guess how the movie is gonna happen. But like, do you guys have any ideas of how one she got there, and two, how she might get away?
Well, I was thinking
that she. You go first, Jay.
All right. Well, I was thinking that she leaves. She leaves like Luke's. Like I said earlier, Luke's gonna be like, "Ah, don't go. It's a trap. I've been there, done that." She leaves anyways. And then she gets to that point, and then I think Luke's gonna swoop in and save her, but also lose his life in that attempt to save Rey.
I think very similarly. I haven't really considered the Luke dying part of that until tonight, but I do think that someone will get Finn, and she'll go after Finn, just like Luke went after Han and Leia in Empire. With the difference maybe being that Luke goes after her where Yoda just went to sleep.
Yeah.
That might happen. But I think Luke thinks there's too much at stake. I think maybe he'll learn while she's gone that she is
a lot more
Kylo's
important than he thought.
sister. And I think that he'll go after her at that point. But that's interesting because I hadn't really thought about that before tonight. But I do think that's exactly what happens, that Finn gets captured and she goes after him and gets caught herself.
Luke's gonna be like, "Listen."
Oh my gosh! So do you think he's gonna lose the fight with Phasma then?
Finn? I don't know if he loses the fight and gets capped.
That might be when he's escaping, like.
If that fight occurs during the escape, right?
Yeah.
Or
because clearly something is like burning down around them as they're fighting, so it does look like an escape scene.
Yeah, he might get captured. The one thing that we didn't see any of in the trailer, and I haven't really seen anyone call it out at all, and maybe he's just a more minor character than I think he is, but we haven't seen any Hux at all.
No, we didn't see him at all. People were calling that out.
Right. And they were good. So
Yeah.
that's weird to me.
You know
is
what?
weird.
I
And I
didn't even
wonder what he has
think
to do with
about
it.
that. That didn't
Because he
even
was such a
cross
big
my
part in the
mind
first
that we
movie.
haven't seen Hux.
Right.
That's true.
And I think he will be as big a part of this movie with Kylo and Snoke. And maybe Kylo does turn, and Hux has no problem with that because he gets to be Snoke's right hand man and kind of say, "Hey, I told you you'd turn."
Yeah, I told you that kid
That's
sucked.
true.
Right.
That's true. Yeah, you know what? I think you're right about seeing him heavily in the movie. Well, not heavily, but I think we'll definitely see Hux. We'll like figure out what's going on with him. But as far as what Hux might be up to, I mean, I feel like if anyone has any answers for Finn as to like, because I know that some people are wondering like, oh, who are Finn's parentage or who are Finn's parents, and other people are thinking like, oh, he's a stormtrooper, he has his number, but he's like redeemed himself by becoming a part of like, you know, the resistance, so he doesn't really care and he's not going to be searching for his parents or anything like that.
Right.
But
Yeah, I don't think he cares about his parents either. I think he was either kidnapped or sold or indoctrinated right off the bat.
yeah, exactly.
Or bred. I don't think that anybody really cares.
So I think like Hux, if
But that might be a
anything,
big surprise too.
yeah, if anything,
As long as
Hux
it's
would
not
have
Lando.
the answers into like that would be, yeah. Please don't let it be Lando. I think I'm right about who it is. I think it's Ray Sloan.
Yeah, you might.
I'm
I
right
think you
about
might be right about that too.
I think it's a character we haven't met yet, and that it's the person who created the first order, because it would make the most sense for why Finn is the way he is now. But either way,
Right.
I think that he might be. You know, if there's anything going on between Hux and Finn, maybe it has something to do with that. Like, you know, if anyone had that information, it would be Hux.
Right.
I think he's definitely going to still be trying to play, you know, that game of being the apple of Daddy's eye with Snoke and Kylo,
Yeah.
you know, and trying to play that game with Kylo. I think I was thinking that, and this was the only time I did think about Hux. I was thinking when I saw that, you know, scene of Kylo punching the wall with his helmet, that maybe it did have something to do with like his rivalry with Hux, and maybe like Hux, like it like kind of getting the better of him. So we're kind
Yeah.
of seeing like,
Yeah.
you know,
Frustration.
like Kylo, like have more frustration and lash out more, because he kind of just failed miserably in the last movie. Like honestly, like
Right.
he did fail like really hard. Like he was supposed to be like
Yeah,
this
it's
top
somebody
notch.
who's never done anything.
Yeah, like he's supposed to like be like whatever, and like he got beat by like an old dude, a Wookiee, and a girl, and this First Order trooper. Like, yeah. I think that wasn't supposed to go down that way. So if anything, I was thinking like that frustrated scene was him kind of being pissy about something that had to do with, you know, Hux or you know, Snoke riding him or something like that. And
Yeah,
who knows? Who knows? I think Kylo's definitely turning out to be a really interesting. I mean,
he's
this
gonna be a huge part.
this trailer seemed to really, and I mean, maybe you guys feel differently, but it seemed to really did focus on Kylo. a
Yeah,
lot.
I thought the whole movie was
trailer.
gonna be mostly about Kylo, just
yeah, we talked
because.
about that for sure.
Yeah.
I agree with Jed.
It's because like I don't know. I think he's gonna be. It's gonna be a redemption movie for him.
And I think it's going to be a redemption movie for like the Skywalker line in general. Not to say that they were, you know, that Luke
Yeah, 'cause
wasn't
they're
that, but
siblings. Totally agree.
because they're siblings. Okay, I'll give you the last couple minutes to explain, if you even have a real theory, to explain why you think they're
He's
siblings.
talked about it before.
I think they are siblings because they are siblings. First of all, this trailer did nothing but like make me feel even stronger about that.
How? What part of this trailer made you feel that way?
When
When they held hands.
No, not
When they
held
didn't held hands.
When you said, "I recognize his power."
Oh gosh, I knew that's the part you were gonna say that was what did it for you. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know, cause that's the only one where I'm like, I guess that would be the only thing I could say. Like, okay, I could see that, where he's saying, "Oh, I've seen this before," and he's just like you, and maybe that's why she is comfortable asking him for advice. You know,
Right.
at the end, like, "Oh, help me,
Like I said,
I
she
don't know."
can fly the Falcon. She can speak Wookiee. She can speak Droid. She's an intuitive ace pilot. Nobody else is like that.
You think there's only Skywalkers can be that dope?
Well, she has Force awareness off the bat. Only Skywalkers ever have. And only Skywalkers have ever had that intuitive, like I said.
Do you think that's only because
skill.
we focused on the Skywalker line? And maybe that's why?
No, it's because of the Chosen Ones. They have midi-chlorian counts that even Master Yoda's never experienced.
Oh god.
Oh my god. Oh
No, I do.
I
I think that she represents the next step. And if she's half Solo, half Skywalker, that's just even more of that theory proven. You know, more piloting skills.
But then why would... the only reason why I don't understand that is because Leia was pregnant with Kylo right after the battle of Jakku.
Kylo went bad, or started to
When
go
was
bad.
she pregnant with? When was
As a
she pregnant
kid.
with Rey then? Because they're
Okay.
they seem like they're close in age. So
Oh,
when
they're
was she pregnant
probably
with
close.
Rey?
They're not twins. But,
Do you think Han knew that Rey was his daughter?
No, I think that Leia knew, saw Kylo starting to go bad, hid Rey away on this side planet that no one's ever gonna find her on, similarly to Luke, and Han found her because the Force leads people back to each other, and here we are. She can speak Wookiee, she can fly, she can speak droid, she can do things that no one else can do.
Oh man, I kind of hope you're wrong. I don't
She's
know
got
why.
Force awareness. I'd rather they be sisters than cousins, siblings and cousins, really.
I don't think they're related in any way, shape, or form.
Oh,
I
you're
just
totally
don't think
wrong.
they are. I don't
They're
think they
definitely
are.
related. We already had a slap it on this.
I know that we have
but,
had this conversation, but I
but
can't buy
I'm
that they're
for
related.
sure they're siblings.
Oh
And
boy.
look at the relationship. Look at the way that he holds out his hand at the end of the trailer. Look at what Luke says. They have the same feeling.
Rebel troops
Nope.
are
Said-
I still don't think that part was about Kylo. But, I mean, I
No, it
guess...
wasn't about Kylo. It was about Rey. It wasn't
Yeah, I think
about
it was
Finn.
I think it was about Finn.
I can't wait to slap you.
I'm gonna start
Oh,
laughing in the middle
God.
of the movie once they like reveal if he's force sensitive or not, and everyone's gonna be like, "What's the matter with you?" Because I'm just gonna be picturing Chad getting
Like, I
slapped in
told
the
I'm gonna
face.
go
everybody
with
was
Chad
force
and just
sensitive.
slap him
I
across
told
the face in my seat.
Okay, I don't think that, I don't think they're brother and sister, but I think that you make a lot of good points. And what we're going to be doing next week, guys, when we get together, is over the week, we're going to scour the internet and find our favorite fan theories about the trailer. And we're going to talk about them. So we'll be talking amongst ourselves over the week, kind of getting an idea for what's out there. And next week on Wednesday, we'll be talking to you guys a little bit about what fan theories we find the most interesting, which ones we find the most credible, which ones we definitely don't think are going to happen at all, like maybe Finn
I
being
definitely
force
don't think
sensitive.
being force sensitive.
Or they're talking about Palpatine.
Or them talking about Palpatine, or anything that I say. Let's just throw that out
I
there.
think both Leia and Luke recognized that who Rey was right off the bat. I think Leia
I
did
agree
because
with you that Rey has some sort of relationship with this family, but I don't think she's related to them. I think you're right, because I agree with you that they have, like, she has some, like, they know her from somewhere, but I don't think it's because that it's his kid.
Only a
there's no
couple
one else
months,
she could
guys.
be and be related and be force sensitive. There's no one else she could be. She can't be like some distant cousin because there's only the two Skywalkers. We know that because Padme died. Like there's no one else it could be. And if it is, like I said, I think Leia recognized her. I think Han didn't, but started to, but didn't overall right off the bat because he's not force sensitive. But I think towards the end he sort of knew who she was because he
You
was
know what
really
I'm
protective of her
thinking now?
with Finn, and then when he died, he sort of looked at her, and then I think Luke
That's true.
right off
That
the
is
bat
true.
knew exactly what was going on, just immediately.
I think that if anything at all, and I know that this is very far fetched, so I'm ready for you to
I love far-fetched.
pull your hair. I'm ready for you to pull your hair out. But if anything at all, Rey is definitely a Skywalker, right? But we finally figure out who Anakin's dad is.
No.
And she comes from that Skywalker line,
What?
not the Skywalker line we've always
Anakin
focused
doesn't
on.
have a dad.
I think. Well, no.
No.
That's the thing. That
He was
Anakin,
conceived
she's
by
like,
the Force.
oh, Shmi's like, oh, he was. I just don't know. I was just
Yeah,
pregnant.
but she's
and
not,
he was
No.
like,
she's not
whatever.
being coy.
No.
She's
And that's
being
not
coy.
obviously
She-
true.
She's like the
She-
Virgin
Because
Mary.
Because it's,
No.
exactly. Yes, it is. Because Star Wars has all these parallels to religion, and she conceived as a virgin, and that's the way it is. Shmi wasn't lying to Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
I don't. I
She
think
wasn't being coy.
I'm sold to this day that she was lying. That she was lying.
No.
To Qui-Gon.
Oh my
Because look
god.
at
I'm
Qui-Gon.
sold to this day that Anakin
No.
has a dad.
They would be able to tell if she was lying. They'd be like, oh yeah,
You're
sure.
wrong.
Come on.
Because she no.
You don't think his dad is Darth Plagueis?
Introduced. It wouldn't be introduced, fully explained, and then expanded upon within one of the 8 existing Star Wars movies. It would have been implied at some point, or whispered, or something would have happened. It
But
would
I
have been
think
just
that that's
dropped on us,
why it
and then
would-
everything expanded on in the span of 45 minutes of the movie. There's no way. It would have been. There would have been anything about
That's
it.
all I'm
in
saying is maybe
something.
Anakin had siblings.
Dude.
No,
No
there's
And
way.
that's the
chance
Skywalker
that-
line she comes
There's
from.
more chance that Finn is her secret dad. There's more chance of that.
Finn is her secret dad.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
There's
you
more
think
chance
you
that
genuinely
Finn
think
and
that
Rey are
Shmi
related.
was being honest and that she believes
Yeah, I didn't
that
even
the Force
consider the fact
was
Everybody
what made
thinks
her
that.
pregnant?
I didn't even think about like people not believing her. I thought that was like
The only reason why
confirmed.
I think this is because it was mentioned in one of the recent books. Palpatine mentions, attempting to at one point in time find Anakin's father, but then he references what you're referencing, saying, but when he asked the Jedi about it, when obviously he could still talk to the Jedi, and he was just the senator. He was saying they were like, oh, she said he was conceived from the Force. So they never really branched farther into it, but it was mentioned.
No, he's
At some
purely
point in time.
midichlorian.
yeah.
I think Yoda knows it. Mace
And do you
Windu
think
knows
that's
it.
why
Qui-Gon
the
knows it.
Skywalkers are so strong? It's because
Yeah, it's like
they came
they're-
from
They're
just
literally
They're
the
literally
chosen
like the,
one.
yeah, they're
the
like the
embodiments
Jesus.
of the Force.
They
They're like
are
the
the
Jesus
Christ
of-
characters of
yeah.
this series.
Which is funny because
they
like you guys are
sacrifice
saying
themselves.
like
They die
Jared
on
said
the
he never
cross.
even thought that about Anakin's father.
See, I've
like
thought about that
that's
because of
literally
theories out
been
there. But I've
that's
never,
literally
ever
been like one of my
considered
first
the
thoughts
fact
when I
that
was a
it could
kid.
be
Like
true.
even when I was a kid, that was one of my first thoughts. Like who's his dad?
You're like she's lying.
Yeah.
He's not being close.
Yeah, I was like, I don't believe her. Like, yeah,
What?
she's like, I felt like she
Why
was.
would you not
Yeah,
believe
no,
her?
I never believed her because
Why?
I thought that was just one of the. I just thought it was one of the movie tools that were used. Like, oh, you
But,
know,
like, what would her
I don't
reasoning
know
be
who
to
his
lie?
dad is.
Like why would
Because
she
she
lie
doesn't
to
want to seem
Qui-Gon?
like a slut.
What?
No.
She doesn't want to seem
No,
like
if
she doesn't want to
anything,
seem
it would
like
be
she's just
because she
sleeping
was like a-
around.
No, it would be because she was a slave and was like, raped and didn't want to talk about it. That would be the
Okay,
only
yeah,
thing.
maybe
But-
that's
but
obviously much more
regardless,
somber,
that-
but yeah.
No, I think there's no way that she's
Oh, boy.
lying. I think that even if she were being coy, she would say something to the effect of, like, I don't know, I couldn't know, or there's no way of knowing, or his father's not around, so why doesn't it? Like, he was just there. He was just conceived. It's the Force. Everybody knows it. That's
Because
why
I think
the
what the
Skywalkers
line
are
was
the
like, the line was, there was no father, I carried him, I something, and I gave
Yeah.
birth. Like, he
Yes.
just, but like, I always, the way she says it, I always just took that to be like, I always just took it to be like somebody saying like, oh, there was no father, as in the sense that like he wasn't really worth
What
it. Like he
else did she
came,
say?
he impregnated me. I can't remember.
She says, I can't explain it.
But then,
She says, I
then
can't
I
explain
took
it.
that
There
I
was
can't
no father.
explain it as to being like,
No.
It
If-
was
if
just
she
like
hadn't
one of
said
those
you can't
things.
explain it, then maybe we could talk about it. But she said, I can't explain it. I don't even know.
she
So
said
we
I
just
can't
get
explain
complete-
it. We could talk-
She does say that. It's a total manifestation of the Force, and it's confirmed throughout the entire series. The Skywalkers are the chosen ones.
Yeah.
Right.
Chad, you just have to realize
I
that.
just never. I guess
they're
I
like
just
the
never
Jesus.
like drew that line.
Yeah.
I just never connected those two things, like them being the chosen one and them not having.
She's the Virgin Mary.
Because my whole life, I've assumed that eventually we'll learn who Anakin's father is.
I didn't even
No.
consider that.
No, it's not even a
I guess we
possibility.
won't. I guess we won't.
I mean, that'd
Oh,
be kind of
man.
cool, but it would also just make, I don't know, it'd make the story less cool,
Yeah.
I guess.
I
my
guess
opinion.
maybe, yeah. Well, giving them like a dad, I guess, does make it less cool. But either way, next week we'll be
It
talking
makes, it
about
takes away from all
our.
the religion parallels too that are eccentric to what Star Wars identity is in the first place.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
She did have a relationship with someone later. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. She
later.
did have a relationship with someone later.
Yeah,
on.
later, but not.
And did he like sell her into slavery or something?
No.
No, he bought her out of slavery and freed
Bought her out, and then she got
right.
wrecked.
And then she got mauled. Yeah.
Respect the dead, man.
Not literally, but respect the dead. Yeah, I guess so. Either
Yeah,
way.
we got really off
and
track with it.
Yeah, we definitely got really off track. I'm sorry, guys. That was my fault. Just because
Overall, I thought the
I
trailer was like a 6 or 7 out of 10. It was probably. I liked the Force Awakens trailer just a million times more. I loved the Force Awakens trailer.
I feel like the Force.
Awakens trailer gave me feels like where I felt like, oh my god.
Well,
that's what I was
could
gonna
some of those
say.
feels be because it's been so long, though?
That's
No,
also
they-
what I was gonna say. It's because I feel like just because like the time that went by, and then like seeing like a lot of those characters like the Millennium Falcon.
Those
Falcon.
aspects were emotional, but the feels came from the trailer in general, the way it was cut, the way the music synced up with it, the way the
You
music
didn't
was
feel
in
that way
general.
about this one? Because I felt some
not
feels
to the
during
same
some
extent.
parts.
The
Not to
only
the same
feel I
extent.
got, the only time was
Oh,
when
jeez.
Leia does that blink. That was the one
Yeah.
time where I was like, oh my god. But other than that,
with
it
his
was like,
fingers on the trigger. Woo.
yeah, and she
I got
blinked
that
at the
kind
camera.
of goosebumps moment that I got a little bit for Force Awakens, like when Finn is like freaking out, and it was like, oh man, this is gonna be good. Like I got that
Yeah.
same kind of moment during the Chewie porg part. I got that like kind of rush.
Even
goosebumps
Poe's
part,
little
like, this
part
is
was
gonna
like
be-
super cool. Got a little goosebumps.
Yeah.
The trailer was definitely cool. It just didn't give away a lot. It just was more of a, I don't know how to put it. It felt more like a
I think.
Hollywoody thing than a Star Wars thing, I guess. Like the first one, I remember when Finn is about to fight Kylo in the woods, and he like is like
Oh
gearing
yeah,
up to
I
swing his
almost crapped my
lightsaber.
pants when I saw that in the
Dude, oh my
theater.
god! I'm just remembering the trailer from like 4 years ago, or like when the music syncs up with the ships, and the music's different from any of the music we've heard before because the tempo's
Yeah.
different. It's
Yeah.
just this didn't have
Yeah,
any of
I
those
will agree
grab
with
me
you that
moments like that.
it
It
did-
had
it
like,
did do
oh, I
that.
can't wait for this movie, and oh man, I can't believe I've been waiting this long for a trailer.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh my god, this just got me by the balls. Like
It's
the
crazy
first
because we
one
only have to
had
wait
that
like 2 more
moment.
months.
Yeah, 64 days from today, we'll be crying our eyes out in the theater.
Oh man.
Yep, definitely gonna be some tears. Like real quick before we go, like I said, guys, you can always find us on the same thing always: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that. Talking Sith. Check us out there. But before we go for the night, real quick, do you think? Because there's a lot of people thinking this, and we're gonna talk more about it eventually. But do you think Luke's gonna die?
Jared does.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that that's probably the popular opinion, and that might be the thing they do just to make people not complain that it's an Empire clone. Because I think that so far a lot of the theories we've discussed are very similar to what happened in Empire.
Yeah.
Like Finn getting captured and Rey going after him. The difference would be if in that third act Luke goes after her and dies, which is Jared's theory. I don't share the theory as strongly. I'll put it this way: I wouldn't be surprised if he dies. I wouldn't be like thrilled, or I wouldn't really feel either way unless they did it really poorly. But I don't see that happening. But I don't see him living or dying. I could see either aspect being just about equal odds. But that would be the thing that they do, because everybody from Disney and from Lucasfilm and Mark Hamill and all these people are saying it's unlike any Star Wars we've ever seen before. It's actually different. It's way darker. And so far, everything we're talking about is just Empire 2.
based.
So
Yeah.
if that's going to be different, that'll be what happens. Either Chewie or Leia or Luke or all three of them. Somebody's going to.
Well, we know Leia won't. We know Leia won't.
So
it's gotta be one of those.
it's gonna be
I think that
interesting.
I think he might die, but I don't think I don't necessarily know if I agree with you guys where he might die in protection of Rey. I think he might die in protection of Leia, like protecting her from something or going to her rescue.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Rey
happen.
is her own person at this point. I think that if anything, if it's going to be protecting somebody, I think Jared's theory is probably what will happen. But like I said, I don't think he's going to die. I just would not even feel an ounce of surprise if he did.
Yeah.
I was more surprised about Han dying, and I wasn't that surprised about Han dying.
I was
more
pretty
surprised about
surprised.
Han dying than I would be if Luke did.
Yeah. The only reason I wasn't surprised about Han is because I watched his interview beforehand, and
Harrison
he
Ford
even
always
said in the
like, if I'm in
interview.
Star Wars again, I'm gonna die. Like, I'm never doing
Yeah,
another show.
exactly. That's exactly why I thought he was. If anyone was gonna, and then the minute I saw him walk out.
Oh yeah,
towards
As soon as the scene
that
hit, you're
thing,
like, okay, good game.
I was like
yeah.
I was like either he's gonna die here or that was it.
Even
that was
before that
happened.
when he and Chewie were like, yeah, that's a good idea. You go that way and I go this way. I was
Yep.
like, oh, game over.
Don't split up.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, especially because Han and Chewie, they don't split up. So
They don't split up exactly.
yeah, so I think that was foregone conclusion, and I like wept at that part of the movie. I'm not ashamed to say. So if that were to happen, I would be way less surprised than I was about Han, and I wasn't surprised at all about Han. So I don't know how to put that into perspective. But
yeah, no, that makes sense.
Either
But
way, I think it'll be. I think it'd be really good, and I will say for the things I didn't really love about the trailer, Mark Hamill looked incredible. He looked just 11 out of 10. His acting looked unbelievable. So
yeah, Mark Hamill looks and does look like this is gonna be. If you're just a fan of Mark Hamill in general, you might want to see this movie. I mean, obviously.
Just that one scene where he talks about, recognizing the power. I was like, holy cow!
Where she cracked the rocks.
When she cracked the pavement or whatever,
his
and he
face
looked
was
back,
like, oh shoot.
He was like, oh god, you almost got this look like he's like, not this again.
Yeah, not
like,
again.
That's the look he gets.
Easily the best acting in a Star Wars movie, I think. So I'm really excited for that. But yeah, I think that the scene where you're talking about where he's standing over her or she's standing over him, is that the part where like she's swimming around? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, where she dives in, and then jumps out, and then
the dark side cave, like they have in Dagobah. But real quick, because I know we're coming up against it, but I don't know if you noticed. I only noticed it on my third watching of the trailer. But when when Kylo Ren is marching into like that room, and you see the screen, or you see them marching from the ceiling down, like you watch them overhead march in.
Yep.
I think that's the same room as the books.
That's exactly what I thought you were about to say.
And I think that is on the
planet
that Luke is on. So
yeah.
I don't know, but I do. I think that was because it looks like it with the floor and everything, and it's pretty distinctive. So I don't know. I don't know why it would be there, but I think that's the same room as what the books are.
And at one point in time in the trailer, it looks like, because you're right, I think that they are there. At one point in time in the trailer, it looks like Rey is down there, like looking at those books. I think there's something more to those books than we're realizing, because they were in both trailers now.
Yeah, the books are definitely.
Oh yeah,
important.
no, I think they're probably the Jedi Code or something. Darth Plagueis' diary or something. Pretty crazy. But I don't
maybe this is maybe in that book is where the Jedi got that prophecy from for the chosen one in the first place. They always mention the
prophecy and they never actually say what the hell they're talking about. So that
exactly. Maybe this is where it comes from, and this is like we get to learn a little bit more about. Yeah, maybe there's more to the prophecy or something, like a Harry Potter type situation.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Like
there's more to the prophecy than we realize.
To happen. Like maybe he read the end where the Jedi have to end, and the other Jedi never read that far or didn't share that information.
Maybe that would be extremely interesting. Or if the dark side and the light side, like you was saying, or like you were saying a little earlier, like it's starting to skew, and maybe they had said that, and maybe we start to learn the Jedi Order maybe hid that for some reason. Right. I don't know, man. Yeah. That's really good.
There's
but like
so much to talk about.
Yeah, there is.
I do think it's the same room. That's about the bottom line. But I already have tickets to Thursday and Friday the night it comes out.
Me too. Me too. Where'd you get tickets to?
Waterford.
Waterford? Oh, okay. I got
Because you get assigned seats, so you don't have to show up like 3 hours early
Yeah,
to
I
get a
got
good
I
seat.
got the assigned seats as well.
I got
So I don't
mine
have
to
to worry about it.
Lisbon. I'll have to get mine to Waterford for one of the nights
Well,
you
I
got.
was gonna say we'll just have to go like Sunday and just go to
Yeah.
Waterford or Monday
Yeah.
or something where it's a little bit less slant. Maybe we can go
Yeah,
like a Monday
sweet.
matinee.
Yeah, that would be dope. That'd be awesome. But I'm
Just go on
definitely
a
gonna be
Wednesday.
seeing it at
Obviously, we see it
least.
100 times because
Go
Yeah,
in
I'm
on
gonna at
Wednesday
least
and
see
live
it. I
stream.
think I saw Force Awakens like 5 times before it left the theater. Like I definitely saw it at least 5 times.
I think I saw it 5 times with Will. I don't even know how many times we saw Force Awakens. I literally hit double digits. I think it was like 12 or 13.
That's awesome, dude.
14, Carter says. I loved Force Awakens, though.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
it's
I think
incredible.
that this might be the first movie that I get that new ticket for, where it's like unlimited showings of the same movie.
Oh yeah, this might be worth it, honestly. Like this
But
one
the
might be
the
worth it.
problem is the seat thing. But after I've seen it like 3 or 4 times in a good seat, I don't mind doing that. And then like when I get out of work one day, if everybody's cool, then going to the movies real quick.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it to watch as many times as you can before it, because this is the type of I mean, obviously it's Star Wars, so it goes without saying, but we'll give our money to
That's what I said
Star
after
Wars.
before Force Awakens, because everyone was when that first full trailer came out and they showed Finn being a black stormtrooper, and everyone's like, "We're boycotting it." I was like, "I don't care. I'm going to see it enough for all of you combined." It just didn't
I
really matter.
literally
They're
like
not losing any
left my
money.
house that day with like the biggest pep in my step, like, oh yeah, Black Storm. And then when they had him with the lightsaber, and everyone was like, oh my god, it's a black Jedi. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah, we don't need
we're
any
doing
of
it.
those guys at the theaters, so that's great.
We're doing it. Yeah,
No
exactly,
racist
man. I don't want
white
you seeing Star Wars anyway, man. I don't want them there anyway. Especially because like a lot of like white supremacists were trying to use like Rogue One as like a, I don't know,
Yeah, Alex
as a
Jones.
platform. Like yeah, Alex
What?
Jones. Oh god. Dude, oh my gosh, watch the Alex Jones reviews of Star Wars. He
One.
reviews the prequels, and it's hilarious.
I showed Jared that one. That was.
Oh, you
pretty
showed him that one? That
Yeah,
one was
he does-
amazing.
he does
He
Rogue
reviews
One,
Rogue
too.
One as well. It's
He loves Rogue
amazing.
One.
It's
But
amazing.
yeah, no, I think it'll be good. And it's weird because a lot of my big fandoms that are extremely close to my heart have been experiencing that kind of just douchey mentality lately. So I'm just
Yeah.
excited to enjoy something for the
Yeah,
feelings of
same
it.
thing with Harry Potter. Yeah, it was
Harry Potter, Weezer's going through it hardcore right now.
Oh
I just
wow.
feel like this will be just a pure enjoyment thing for me, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited
Me too.
for it.
But yeah, guys, next week we're going to be talking about all those kind of fan theories out there that are really interesting to us. We might bring our own to the table because we have a whole week again to watch the trailer over and over again. So I'm
Plus
sure.
any TV teasers that come out now that it's going to start coming Fast and Furious.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have stuff to talk about every single Wednesday now that has to do with the movie. So next week we might be streaming a little differently if I can fix my audio issues, and we might be like taking a look at the trailer and some promo stuff all together as we look through theories. But yeah, join us next week. Like I said, we're the guys at Talking Sith.
Kaka. Stuck up San Diego D-bag, yep, that's me. Oh, no problem. No problem.